Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the October 21st, 2021 virtual hearing of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. My name is Nicholas Blendy. I'm the Deputy Executive Secretary of the agency, and due to our needs to be virtually operating today with my home internet connection, I will be your disembodied voice today to save bandwidth. I'll go over the outline of the packet that you see on front of you. We'll start out with an introduction to the Webex platform and go through the rest. Excuse me, hold on. Cisco Webex is the online meeting platform that the City of Baltimore uses to conduct all of its virtual hearings. The Board of Estimates, the City Council, and the Planning Department have used Webex to hold virtual meetings since the outbreak of COVID-19. Some basics of Cisco Webex. To fully utilize the system, members of the general public should have access to a laptop, an iPad, a smartphone, or a similar device with camera and microphone capabilities. If your electronic device does not have microphone capabilities, then you'll need to use the phone number provided below to dial in. To participate in the Webex meeting, members of the public will have to download the Webex app through their smartphones or click on the following link that you can see to access the hearing online through a web browser, and you can see the access code and password are right there. The BLLC suggests that if you're going to use your smartphone, iPad, or similar device, that you download the application at least one day before today's date, 10/21/2021, to ensure that you have access to the program and don't need any updates or the like. If a member of the general public does not have access to a computer, a smartphone, or a similar device, they can call the following number and enter the following access code to listen only to the hearing. And you can see the phone number of 408-418-9388 with an access code of 2338-837-5819 is at the bottom of the screen. All materials, evidence, and related items for today's docket. Materials, copies of the short docket, which provide a brief description of the cases before the board today, and the long docket, which includes all the application materials, can be found on the board's website under hyperlinks for today's date, October 21, 2021. During virtual hearings, the board observes a 48-hour rule for the online hearings, meaning that all of the evidence to be considered by the board today can be found in the long docket, and we were accepting the evidence from any party to the hearing up until 48 hours before 11 a.m. today, which means that all evidence for today's hearing must have been submitted no later than 11 a.m. on Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. If there's any evidence for submitted to the board later than that date and time, it will not be considered by the board during the hearing. As always, all evidence should be submitted via email to the board's Assistant Executive Secretary, Ms. Stacy Russell, at stacy.russell@baltimorecity.gov. And as we are conducting these hearings virtually, the board will not be accepting any documents in person. Some related items. Amendments to applications made by applicants or their representatives will not be accepted after October 7th, 2021 for all cases to be heard today, October 21st, 2021. If an applicant or their representative attempts to amend the application for today's hearing after October 7th, the case will automatically be postponed, as is the case with one of the items on our docket today, which I will note when it shows up on the screen. In addition to the posting of the 10/21/2021 docket online, licensees and applicants will be mailed a letter instructing them of the date and time of their virtual hearing. The procedures for today. Preliminary reading of the instructions. I am reading the preliminary instructions and the general ground rules for the hearing process. Calling of the cases. I will call each case in the order it's listed on the short docket. I will then ask for the applicant and his or her representative to identify themselves, and if applicable, have the applicant and or any supporting witnesses be sworn in. And then we'll conduct a case hearing. The board will provide an opportunity for the applicant and his or her representative to present their case to the board. The board may ask questions of the attorney or the applicant. Upon the conclusion of the case, the chair will ask individuals who are on the call and who have access to the necessary computer, smartphone, iPad, or similar technology devices if they would like to testify in support or opposition to the application. If you do wish to testify, you will need to use the raise your hand feature in the bottom of the Webex platform, and then I will recognize you, have you identify yourself, move you into the panel where you will be sworn in by our court reporter, and then you'll be allowed to testify. I note that all individuals who testify are subject to questioning by the board and potentially cross-examination by the attorney or the applicant. Please remember, if you have access only to a phone, you will not have the opportunity to testify. We need the video on. So after all testimony and evidence is presented to the board will vote on the application before them. The assistant executive secretary will then read exhibits into the record. The board is not authorized to discuss non-case related matters today. The board is serving in its quasi-judicial capacity, and it is authorized only to hear testimony and evidence related to cases that are before it. The board is not authorized to discuss any other cases or policy matters during today's virtual hearing. Some general ground rules and helpful information for today's hearing. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. This will minimize feedback and extra noise. Please identify yourself and state the spelling of your name before you speak. Please speak slowly and in a clear voice so that the court reporter who is recording all of these matters understands exactly what is being said and who is saying it. Please note that this event is running live on Charm TV and that there is a court reporter present. Please note that individuals who use profanity, are disrespectful, or unruly may be expelled from the virtual hearing. Please note that all attendees, applicants, licensees, and members of the public that wish to provide testimony during today's hearing must be sworn in prior to giving testimony. There will be no physical evidence taken at these proceedings, and absolutely no amendments to the application may be made at the time of the hearing. Some helpful reminders to improve the Webex experience. Please be prepared. Read the materials ahead of time. Test the video conferencing platform ahead of time as well. Location matters. Try to find a quiet space with good light and a strong internet connection so that you can be seen and heard clearly. We ask you to please be present and don't multitask. And lastly, we ask you to please be patient with yourself and others. The short docket is up on the screen. If you have any additional comments, Mr. Chairman.
No, let's proceed.
Okay. Then the first matter on the board's docket today, and moving the applicant into the panel. Applicant is Alex Champagne, Dad Rock LLC, trading as Fire and Rice. Proposed premises are located at 4801 Harford Road, Suite S2, Baltimore, Maryland, 21214. And this is an application for a new Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license requesting outdoor table service and off-premises catering. And this license is authorized under a state Senate bill that passed the previous legislative session. The applicant is in the room, Mr. Chairman, and I believe he is ready to go, it looks like.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Champagne.
Good morning.
Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yep, just like the drink.
Well, it's interesting to have a liquor license applicant with that name. We welcome. So would you raise your right hand, please? We're going to swear you in.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yep.
Thank you.
So would you please tell us about your operation and what you're planning?
Sure. So we are a small little sushi restaurant. We've been working on building out a small bar area. We had to get the legislation passed because we do not fit the 70 plus capacity. But we wanted to focus on sake, sort of Japanese, Asian inspired cocktails, as well as beer and wine.
Okay. And you have entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Walterson Improvement Association. Is that correct?
Yes, and I believe Maria Walther also agreed with their memorandum as well. It's another neighborhood association.
Is that the Hamilton Lauraville group?
That's another separate letter of support from another neighborhood. So we've got 3 great neighborhood associations on board with us.
That's good. So who's going to be handling the alcohol at your place?
That will be me. I have tip certification from previous jobs.
Okay. And nobody else, just you?
Currently, I have no other bartenders hired.
Okay, but if you do, you'll get them certified?
Absolutely.
And you say you have previous experience?
Yes, I've been working in restaurants for about 15 years now, and starting from dishwasher to managing, and this will be my first undertaking as owner.
Okay. And you're in agreement that the terms of the MOU will be part of your license, is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions for Mr. Champagne?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
It doesn't, just two questions. The seating capacity appears to be 38 people. Is that correct?
That is the total UNO, so that includes staff as well. So our seating is about 35. It's a small kitchen, so that shouldn't be a problem keeping that UNO.
And it doesn't appear that there's an investment requirement. This might be more appropriate for Mr. Blundy, an investment requirement on this new license under the legislation.
Those are both great questions, Commissioner, and you're correct. There is no minimum seating requirement for a new BD7 issued under this state Senate bill, nor is there a capital investment requirement.
Right. Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we have any public comment, Mr. Bundy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. I believe I do see a member with their hand raised, but I believe it's for then a subsequent matter, but I'll confirm if you give me a chance, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Hey, is this Stephen Awalt? Can you hear me?
Yes, it is. I'll take my hand down.
I know that you're here for another one, but thank you. Just wanted to be clear. Then no, Mr. Chairman, no member of the public wishes to testify.
Okay. All right, Mr. Champagne, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and everything that you have submitted to us, as well as your testimony this morning, and with the support of all the neighboring associations, I would vote to approve this application for a new Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with outdoor table service and off-premises catering, all subject to the terms of the memorandum of understanding that you have engaged in with the Walterson Improvement Association, to the extent those terms are enforceable by law. Commissioners?
Yes. Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the application with the support of two community associations, letters of support for a new Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, also requesting outdoor table service and off-premise catering, along with the MOU being made as part of the license.
Based upon the application, the testimony from Mr. Champagne, the support of the neighborhood associations, I too would vote to approve this new Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with outdoor table service and off-premise catering, subject to the terms of the memorandum of understanding to the extent it's enforceable by law.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support from Walterson Improvement Association. Board Exhibit number 2, MOU, and 3, letter of support from Hamilton Laurelville Main Street.
Thank you. Mr. Champagne, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant has received preliminary approval by the board and will receive follow-up instructions in writing via mail on how to complete obtaining its new license that was approved for today. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move to the next matter?
We are.
The second item on today's docket, applicant Chum Ok Funk, Yan Chong, and J Sim, Sims International Incorporated, trading as A&B Liquors, 523 to 25 West Lexington Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21201. And this is an application to transfer ownership only of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Yu is counsel, and I am moving him into the panel now, Mr. Chairman. He should be in the room.
Okay, Mr. Yu, will you identify yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. J.U. on behalf of the applicants, Ms. Funk and Mr. Chong and Ms. Shim.
Good morning. Do you want to proffer this for us?
Yes, if I may. Let me see. Why am I not showing? Okay.
See,
Yes, this is it's a change of ownership, but um, the application came about because previously the current licensees were Ms. Funk, Mr. Chong, and Mr. Sim, who passed away. And Mrs. Youngnam Sim, the wife, the personal representative, was on the license for briefly, and now she would like to be removed from the license. So the applicants are Ms. Funk, Mr. Chong, and Ms. Ajin Sim, who's the cousin of the parties, because we are in need of the resident agent licensee who's a Baltimore City resident. So that's why she's coming in. So
That just a substitution of one party on the license?
yes, Your Honor, and the removal of Mrs. Youngnam Sim, who's the personal representative.
Okay.
And so
anything going to change on the license?
nothing's going to change, Your Honor. It's going to be just the resident agent being added to the license, and Ms. Youngnam Sim, the personal representative, being removed.
Okay.
So I believe Ms. Sim is online with us. I believe she is. So she is a Baltimore City resident, and she has no criminal record, no serious traffic record. Otherwise, she's qualified. I believe she will be fingerprinted shortly. I'm not sure if she is fingerprinted yet, but I'm pretty confident that she has no records of whatsoever. She is working as a nurse. I think she's working as a dental assistant, if I'm not mistaken. So she's a family, so she will frequent the place and make sure that she upholds all the duties and obligations of a resident agent licensee. I believe she does qualify, and that's pretty much it. If the committee have any questions.
Their record shows that there was a violation back around 2008, so it's been a while, and just caution them that they need to continue the way they've been going recently, okay?
Thank you.
Commissioners have any questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
All right, do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
Any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I don't see any member who has raised their hand.
Okay. Mr. Yu, then, on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your extensive proffer, I would vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license to the applicants. Commissioners?
Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership for a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Yu, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. Good luck to the new resident agent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicants have received preliminary approval today and will receive follow-up instructions on how to complete the legal transfer of ownership, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are you ready for the next matter?
Yes, sir.
The next item on today's docket, applicant Christy Bukowski, Lola's LLC, trading as Shotty's Point, Charm City. Premises are located at 701 East Fort Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Ms. Bukowski is here, and I have moved her in under, she's under Stephen Awaltz. And I've moved her into the panel. So if you can turn your camera on at the bottom, it should say start video.
Are you there, Ms. Bukowski?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So,
Good morning,
are
Mr. Chair,
you
panel.
representing her?
Yes, Stephen Awalt. I'm on behalf of Christy Bukowski.
Okay. Do you wish to proffer?
Yes, I would, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you all for hearing from us. Seated to my right is Christy Bukowski. She's a 48-year-old resident of Baltimore City, Maryland. She's been in food service operations for 30 years. She served in liquor and beverage operations for 20 years. At this location, Shotty's Point, she's been there 7 years, although 10 years before that with its prior owner. So all told, she's been in food and beverage service at this location, Shotty's Point, for 17 years. In food service, she advises me that she has been a manager for food and beverage for 15 years. She's presently the 1% owner of this location, and she's seeking to purchase out the majority interest from the current owner, Michael Schott. Shotty's Point is a beloved tavern in the Riverside area of Baltimore City. It's had a very good run as a neighborhood operation. Ms. Bukowski's been an instrumental part of that operation for many years. Prior to today's hearing, I talked with her about reviewing the rules and regulations of the board. We confirmed her alcohol certification, which has been current since March of 2018. Ms. Bukowski herself serves as a primary bartender there. The other primary bartender is Mr. Henry Mitchum. He's also alcohol certified, and that should be as part of the board's packet. The bar and restaurant's carding policy is to card anyone who appears to be age 30 or younger. And they do have an active food service menu. And while ownership will be changing, it's her intent to keep the character and the nature of this operation the same for the present purposes. So that's what I have, and I would open it up to Mr. Chair, the commission's questions, if there are any.
Well, I note that there were 2 letters of support. One is from Joanne Martin. Is that our former inspector?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, I hope she's well. And the other is from Mr. Gentile at Little Havana. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No, Mr. Chair, I think it was Councilman Eric Costello sent the letter, am I correct, or an email?
Oh, maybe I have that.
Yes.
You're right. Yes, thank you, Commissioner. I didn't know that. Yes, he did.
No questions, thank you.
I have no questions.
Okay. Just one last comment. I saw in the list there was only a single violation recently, and that was back in 2017. So they have a pretty good record, and I hope that Ms. Bukowski can maintain that.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I urged her to be careful on that matter.
Okay. Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I see no one who has raised their hand.
All right. Well, Mr. Awal, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application, as well as the 3 letters of support, and on the basis of your proffer to us, I vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued live entertainment and outdoor table service. Commissioners?
Yes, based on the testimony provided today and letters of support, I also vote to approve the transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service for the Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the application, the letters of support, the proffer from Mr. Awalt, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
I call exhibits for the record. Exhibit number 1, letter of support from Councilman Costello dated 10/3/2021. And exhibit number 2, email support from community.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Awal. Good luck to your client.
Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Concludes this hearing before the board. Applicant has received preliminary approval of the transfer of ownership today. Will receive follow-up instructions via U.S. mail from this agency on how to legally complete the transfer, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
Yes, we are.
Then the next matter on today's virtual hearing docket for the board is applicant Ji-Hyun Jong and Aaron Lonnie Browning, Golden Prime LLC, trading as Hub Wine and Spirits. Premises are located at 4332 Erdman Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21213. And this is an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Licensee Ji-Hyun Jong is here and in the room, I believe, is representing himself today.
Okay.
So if you could turn on, use the start video, Mr. Jong, should be at the bottom.
AI를
First, dear board, my name is Chrissy Cheng, and please let me act. Yeah, please let me act as a translator for Mr. Jung. He speaks good English, but let me assist him when he needs me, please.
That's fine. Ask Mr. John to raise his right hand. We'll swear him in, please.
Right.
First, would I be able to get the spellings for the two people that are with Mr. Jung, the interpreter's name and then the other person's name that's there?
Yep.
Would I be able to get the spellings of your names, please?
Can you spell your names for the reporter, please?
AARON LONNIE BROWNING.
And the
Okay,
interpreter?
thank you.
Interpreter.
My name is Chrissy Cheng, CHRISSIE. My last name is CHANG, Chrissy Cheng.
Okay, thank you. All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And if you can just say your name before your response.
Chrissy Cheng, yes.
Ji-Hyun Jung, yes. Aaron Browning, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Jung, do you want to tell us about your plans for this liquor store?
Yeah. 뭐라고 그럴까?
한국말로 말씀하세요. 제가 할게요. 그리고 말씀하세요. 어떤 리커 스토어에 대해서.
그 리코스터를 살려고 한다 지금.
예.
그래서 이름도 허브 앤 와인 앤 스피리츠로 바꾼다고.
예. He's trying to purchase the existing liquor store. Current trade name is Global Liquors, located at 4332 Erdman Avenue, City of Baltimore, and he would like to purchase the liquor store, and he would like to change the trade name to Hub Wine and Spirits.
And
It's just an ownership change only.
what is his experience with alcohol?
말씀하세요.
Yeah, I had a liquor store in Washington D.C. about 4 years.
Oh, okay. And when was that?
2281 Savannah Street, Southeast, Washington D.C. Name was Shipley Liquor.
And what years were that?
2017 through 2021.
Oh, okay. And is that still open?
Yeah, I sold it and they're still running on it.
Oh, you sold that operation, though. Okay.
I sold it last April.
Okay. And are you tip certified, sir?
Tips, yes.
Yes.
Okay. And will you be the only person handling alcohol at this location?
Yeah, so far.
Okay. And if you hire anyone else, they'll have to get tip certified as well?
Yeah, when I hire, I'm going to make them educated, everything on it.
Okay. And you are familiar with our rules and regulations, Mr. Jung?
Of course.
Okay. And particularly with sales to minors, and make sure that you ID persons?
I never heard it before, but yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay. And Mr. Browning is the resident agent?
Yes.
Okay. All right, commissioners have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
Any member of the public wishes to, testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who has raised their hand.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jung, on the basis then of the materials that you submitted in the application, as well as the testimony received this morning, I vote to approve this application for transfer of ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the application and transfer ownership of the Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the application and testimony from Mr. Zhang, I too would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, Mr. Zhang, good luck to you. I hope this works.
Thank you much.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicants have received preliminary approval for their transfer of ownership and will receive follow-up instructions from this agency via U.S. mail with how to complete the transfer, which legally must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr.
Thank
Chair,
you.
are we ready to move forward?
Yeah, let's move on.
Sir. Then the next matter, well, on the docket of the next matter is the short docket is postponed due to an amendment. So the copper mine item will be coming before the board at a later date. So then the next matter to be heard today is applicant Ashley Hawkins, One Chef Mac LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 623 to 25 South Luzerne Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland 21224. And this is an application to transfer ownership and requesting off-premises catering of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Fogelman is counsel and is in the room, Mr. Chair.
Okay, good morning, Ms. Fogelman. Will you identify yourself, please?
And here, my client and I.
Okay. Do you want to state your for the record, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant, Ashley Hawkins.
Do you want to proffer this for us, Mr. Fogelman?
I'd be happy to. Ms. Hawkins is excited about this project. She's been involved with her husband's catering company for many years. Her husband, Robert Moore, who will serve as a GM and chef, has catered for more than 30 years from California to New York to Maryland with quality chef services. They've done weddings, bar mitzvahs, anniversaries, etc., and want to bring some of the same and similar concepts to their catering that they have. Want to bring those to a brick and mortar restaurant. Everything from brunch to lunch to dinner. The chef is famous for his hash. There's this great roast beef as well. Large selection of salads and grilled seafood and shrimp. So this location, 623 South Luzerne, it used to be American Harry's Bar for decades, more recently JD's Smokehouse. Miss Hawkins will be alcohol management certified, as will General Manager Robert Moore and anyone who is serving alcohol at the premises. Miss Hawkins is not prepared yet to leave her job as an HR director in healthcare, but she will be on site about 20 to 25 hours a week. Mr. Moore, the GM, and her spouse will be on site about 60 or 70, as he is also the chef. The ID policy that the Miss Hawkins and Mr. Moore have developed effectively cards everyone under 45 unless they become regulars. And so this is all about the food. The alcohol is just an amenity to stay competitive in the industry. Any other any questions at all?
I don't. Did the commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on this matter, Mr. Blendy?
Any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who has raised their hand.
Mr. Chairman, may I bring a point of information?
Sure.
Okay. The applicants did meet with the community, Canton Community Association's Economic Development Committee in this regard. Everything went positive. I don't know if there was any letter of support or not in the file, but there was certainly no opposition expressed.
Don't think I saw anything, actually, but
okay.
Appreciate the effort to do that. All right, on the basis then of the materials contained in the application and the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I vote to approve this application to transfer this BG7 beer, wine, and liquor license with off-premises catering.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership and the requesting of off-premise catering of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with off-premise catering.
Thank you.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, well, thank you, Ms. Fogelman. Good luck to Ms. Hawkins and her group.
Thank you. Thanks.
That concludes this hearing before the board today. Applicant has received preliminary approval by the board and will receive follow-up instructions from this agency on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move to the next matter?
Yes.
The next matter is also a client of Mr. Fogelman's, licensee Yu Najung, Shoyu Incorporated, trading as Shoyu. Premises are located at 1450 Light Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21230. The licensee holds a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license, and this is a request to add outdoor table service to the existing license. Mr. Fogelman still in the room.
Yeah. Would you identify yourself again, Mr. Fogelman, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of Shoyu Inc. and Yuna Chung.
And what's the nature of the outdoor table service? How much and all that?
It is. Let me just ask my client. Can she raise her right hand? I'm sorry, I don't have the drawing in front of me.
Go ahead. Let's swear her in.
Okay, and that's Ms. Jung, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Please raise your right hand.
There it is.
Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Young. I just found the drawing. I'm sorry. Do you really just have 3 4 tops?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, those 4 tops already exist as a result of temporary outdoor seating permit granted by this liquor board, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you haven't had any trouble whatsoever, right?
No.
And in fact, your customer, to say that these tables are popular with your customers would be an understatement. Isn't that right?
Yes. Everybody wants to sit outside.
Everybody wants to sit outside. Okay.
Getting colder.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
but she does want to go permanent because those temporary outdoor permits that the board kindly extended at some point, they will end. And she wants to make sure she's good to go.
Understood. So this is something that she developed during the pandemic and it's working out. Is that correct?
Exactly. And that's the kind of one of the silver linings of the pandemic is we're able to do trial runs on things like this that would never be permitted in the past. We'd always have to wonder, would there be a disturbance to the community? But we now we know that in this case, there was no disturbance to the community. In fact, the customers loved it. She got over 100 signatures from customers in support, but unfortunately, it wasn't able to get into the file.
Okay, and I'll note for the record, she has a clean record with us. So.
Yes.
Do the commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
I don't have a question, but I'd be remiss if I didn't plug this restaurant, Sunkissed Roll and Baked Scallop. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Ms. Young, that doesn't happen every day. So.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
Any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see any member of the public who has raised their hand.
Okay. Ms. Fogelman, on the basis then of the materials contained in the application, your proffer and Ms. Young's testimony, I vote to approve the request to add outdoor table service to this Class D beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the request to add outdoor table service for the Class D beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, the testimony, I too would vote to approve the outdoor table service addition.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Fogelman. Good luck to you, Ms. Young.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant has received preliminary approval for its request to add outdoor table service and will receive follow-up instructions on how to have their license reissued as such. And lastly, I will note that much like Commissioner Greenfield, our community outreach liaison also is a huge fan of the cuisine there.
That's
So,
fantastic.
perhaps they've dined together, I don't know. Are you ready for the next matter, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
The final item on today's docket is applicant Randall J. Craig Jr. and Jason E. Miles, Judy's Island Grill Canton LLC, trading as Judy's Island Grill. The premises are located at 2300 to 02 Boston Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21224. And this is an amended application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Fogelman is also counsel on this case. Mr. Craig, I have moved him into the room, and I believe the GM, Frika Scott, also I have moved into the room, should Mr. Fogelman wish to call them.
Okay. So one more time, Mr. Fogelman.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicants in this matter.
Okay. And are you going to proffer this one?
I'd be happy to, as it closes in on lunch.
Yeah. So was this amended to add the live entertainment? Is that what the reason was for the amendment?
No, this was amended. This is an interesting situation. Mr. Blendy was a quick study at the liquor board and found out that there was some prior issues with renewal where the current owner or current licensee had his name on some licenses, and we had to do a contract purchase substitute application in order to get this license renewed properly.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense.
And do you want to tell us about Mr. Craig?
Yes, Mr. Craig is an attorney. You may know of him. Craig Law Group. He's been an attorney for 35 years out of 711 St. Paul Street. The city resident, Mr. Miles, is also is also an attorney. And Mr. Craig is excited to team up with Frika Scott, who is the owner and chef of some great places. Judy's Island Grill 1 at Park Heights Avenue, which does not have a liquor license, and Judy's Island Grill in Glen Burnie, Maryland, which does have a restaurant license. I visited the Glen Burnie location. It's extremely popular with traditional Jamaican entrees, Caribbean food, vegan food, sandwiches, and a kids menu. And again, it's all about the food here, and the alcohol is really an accessory to stay competitive. And where they're located there on the 2300 block of Boston Street, practically every other commercial business has a liquor license there. So I'm excited as a Canton resident to have an option this delicious and a little bit exotic, pretty close by. So I think it'll be a good fit with the community.
And are the people who handle the alcohol going to be certified?
Absolutely.
Okay, and they're familiar with our rules and regulations?
They are indeed.
So, Mr. Fogelman, we had one complaining letter from a Mr. Dahl who's concerned about the nature of the live entertainment. Can you tell us a little bit what they plan?
Yes, I may have to swear the witness here because my understanding is it's always had, for starters, this has always had live entertainment. So
that the nature of the letter seemed to indicate that he just didn't want it to change from what they had to something louder.
Okay, and I cannot off the top of my head remember attending or even knowing about a live entertainment event there. I think probably if we could swear GM Frika Scott, she may be able to provide us with more information on the nature of the live entertainment that she'd like to provide.
Okay, let's swear her in, please.
Sure.
Ms. Scott, are you able to turn on video?
There should be a start video button. Oh, there you go.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Scott, what type of live entertainment do you intend on providing?
So we plan to provide karaoke. We have karaoke night currently at our Glen Burnie location. We
Mhm.
also have a live band like steel drum, Jamaican steel drum, guitarist, that sort of thing. And that's it for the most part. Sometimes we might have someone that want to rent the dining room for a private party and might have a DJ.
Okay. Well, you've got the authorization from the zoning board to have it. To the extent that you comply with their requirements, you're okay with us. I just recommend that maybe you reach out to Mr. Dahl and talk with him and see if you can assuage some of his concerns, okay?
Absolutely. Be happy
All right.
to.
The commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
I have no questions.
We have public comment on this case.
Any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see any member of the public who has raised their hand.
Mr. Fogelman, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, your proffer, and Ms. Scott's testimony, I vote to approve this amended application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued live entertainment. Commissioners?
Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, the testimony of Ms. Scott, I too vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment.
Thank you all. Your Honor, I'll make a request from the board to receive that letter so that we can make contact. Thank you very much.
We will. Ms. Russell, do we have exhibits?
Yes, I'd like to call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of opposition from community dated 10/18/2021. Board Exhibit 2, menu.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Fogelman, thank you and good luck
Thank
to
you.
Concludes this matter before the board. Applicant and council will receive follow-up instructions on how to legally complete their transfer of ownership that the board preliminarily approved today. This must occur within 188 days of today's hearing by law. And therefore, Mr. Chair, I believe I have read all of the cases before you today.
All right, let's move on to adjournment.
The board will be in recess until Thursday, October 28th, 2021. The board shall post on its website, provide notice to applicants and/or attorneys, and conduct a virtual hearing on this date. Please call our office at 410-396-4377 between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. with any questions or concerns that you have on this matter or any other. And that is all we have for the board today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Blendy. Our thanks to the commissioners, to the staff, as always, and to all those who participated today. Best of luck to the new licensees, and we will see you in a week. Thank you.
Thank you.